Time for My Headlines.
My Headlines.
My Headlines brought to you by Frontier Toyota. LeBron James and his family had to be evacuated from their home earlier this week due to the Getty fire in the Sepulveda Pass. LeBron thanked first responders for their hard work. Evacuation orders have since been lifted for that area. LeBron and the Lakers are on the road in Dallas tonight. Tip-off at 7:30. By the way, Kyle Kuzma expected to return. The Clippers hosted San Antonio last night. Kawhi Leonard poured in 38 points. He had 12 rebounds. Clippers beat the Spurs 103-97. They host Utah on Sunday. Well, the Rams don't play this week, but they are still busy. The team traded defensive back Keith Talib and a fifth-round pick to Miami for a late-round pick. The deal was a salary dump for the Rams. They head to Pittsburgh a week from Sunday. The Chargers fired offensive coordinator Ken Wisenhunt. They are 23rd in the league in scoring, averaging a little more than 19 points a game. The Chargers, though, well, they have their work cut out for them on Sunday when they host the Green Bay Packers at 1:25 on CBS. Well, LeBron James, this goes to show you that no matter how much money you have, no matter how much fame you have, that you're not going to be unaffected by Mother Nature, right?
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
And with all the fires we've had out here, a lot of celebrities just so happen to be displaced because of the Getty fire over there in Mandeville Canyon. And for LeBron and his family, they were evacuated Monday morning around 2 a.m.
Wow.
They had a hard time finding a hotel initially. I think they had to try it like 4 different times before they finally found a place to put their family. They said
it was serious.
It was quite scary. Here's LeBron.
It's funny. I was talking to my wife about it a little bit. I said I hadn't been in a fire drill since like the 7th grade. Just challenging. At that hour, getting my family, getting my kids, and everybody having to evacuate at such a rapid rate. You don't have much time to really think about what you can get or what you can do. You just got to get out and get the safety. So, first of all, more than anything, my appreciation and loyalty to the first responders. Those guys, men and women, are unbelievable in what they're doing and their bravery throughout this time. And anytime you're dealing with such a situation like that, they're the reason why things can be a lot less worse than they possibly could be. So it's an amazing job what they do and their commitment on going on right now.
LeBron James talking about how he was and his family were affected by the fire. The Lakers coach Frank Vogel opted for instead of having a regular practice on Monday, he gave LeBron a chance to not have to show up, and LeBron said, "Hey, I need to be out here. I need to work," and so they did something different for their Lakers practice. Vogel had the week of Halloween. It's it's silly time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they had a visit from magician David Blaine.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it's part of the Lakers Genius Talk series, which was organized by their GM, Rob Pelinka. And it also included speakers such as Denzel Washington, Kendrick Lamar, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. So
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, in light of what they were going through. And then LeBron, as we heard him, he thanked the first responders, and then he sent out a taco truck.
Yes. That is so brilliant.
It's a great idea, boy. Nothing like tacos, I'm sure, for those firefighters.
Well, food to make people happy, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Makes me happy.
And comfort food to boot, right?
That's
tacos.
true, yeah.
The mayor, Rick Garcia, the mayor of Los Angeles, said thank you to at King James, his Twitter handle, for generously sending a taco truck to support our LAFD firefighters and first responders. So that was
so
cool for everybody involved, as much as it was a big inconvenience for LeBron James.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Really scary, too, especially when you have kids involved.
Oh, yeah. Well, because the kids are scared.
Of course.
And adults we know can be scared, but especially for kids, you're doing everything you can to try to help them be comfortable and not so scared during these times.
And as an adult covering the fires last week, you never know what that wind's going to do, so you have no idea. So you're like in the dark, and then you're trying to remove yourself, plus your family. It's a really scary thing.
Yeah, it is. And then fires create their own weather. They create their own winds. And it's been, I'll tell you what, I've told some friends, a dear friend of mine who used to anchor the news here in L.A., he hasn't been here for a while, and I said, he's asking how I was doing because we, as you know, they were touching in our city limits around here.
Right.
And I said, boy, I think that the fire season is so much more robust than when he was here anchoring the news. It seems like we go from one fire to another.
I know.
Yep.
I don't.
And my wife reminds me, though, when we were kids, we had our share of fires. The difference, I think, is that when we were kids, when I was kids, that was a long time ago, the fires lasted longer. Their firefighting techniques were so different back then. The equipment was different. The strategy was different. So you had fires for a longer period of time. Now, you got a fire break out fast. People get evacuated. They knock it down, or at least knock it down well enough to let people go home. And then another one breaks out.
Right.
And then they go from that one, they go to another one. So it feels like we have more fires. Our firefighters are just incredible. They do a great job of knocking one down and moving on to the next one. So, how about the World Series? Were you guys paying attention at all with our Dodgers not being there? Did you?
Yeah, I was a little bit. I was actually rooting for the Nationals because, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, got to root for the team that beat you because it makes you feel a little bit, better.
Makes you feel a little bit better.
A little bit better.
You're right. So I was saying, same with me. So the Nationals win the first 2 games.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going to run away with the World Series.
Right.
And it's shifting back to D.C. And then the Astros win 3 straight, and you're thinking, uh-oh, here we go.
Very weird, yeah.
And then Washington wins Game 6, and then they come out in Game 7 and take that one. And the same heroes, the same guys that beat the Dodgers, are the same guys that were the heroes in this Game 7. Howie Kendrick and Anthony Rendon, who both homered. So it was a big win for the Nationals, the first ever World Series championship in the history of that organization. Here's Max Scherzer, the team's pitcher, and one of the stars, Howie Kendrick.
Unbelievable. What a moment. What a team. What a team. What a game. Just everybody up and down the lineup, grinding it out. Corbin coming in, throwing those 3 shutout innings. How do you close the door? Clutch base hits. Just the baseball we played over this past month has just been unreal. Just the team, what we've done together and stay together, it's a moment you'll never forget.
All these years, all this hard work. This year, the struggles early. I mean, this is what it's about right here. This is what it's about. I mean, words can't even describe this feeling. I mean, it's phenomenal. This group of guys that we got here, we fought all year. I mean, this makes it sweet. This is so sweet right now.
That was Howie Kendrick. Before that, Max Scherzer. I'm really happy for Howie. I think he's 103 years old, something like that. I used to interview Howie when he was with the Angels, which was a long time ago. And I remember one season, I may have told you guys this story. I can't remember if I told it on air, but one season, it was the season opener, Howie hits a home run. And so after the game, I'm interviewing the players in the locker room, and I see Howie, and I stick the mic in front of him, and I say, Howie, you hit a home run in Game 1 you're on pace to hit 162 home runs. Does anybody else get that?
Oh.
It's a 162-game schedule. He hits a home run in Game 1. He's on pace to hit 162 home runs.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was a delay reaction there, too.
We need
our
coffee.
No.
Patty case.
It wasn't that funny originally.
Okay, I'm a little dense, Rick. I am a little dense.
Howie got a
Sorry
kick out of it
about
anyway.
that, Rick. Yeah.
So good for Howie Kendrick. That is something. And congratulations to the Washington Nationals.
That's right.
Congrats to
Well
them.
deserved.
Yeah, some underdogs. The Rams they're off this week. If for a guy like me who, and I know Patrick, you like the Seahawks. April, you're a Rams fan like me, but
Yep.
I hate bye weekends.
Yes.
Yeah.
My team's not playing this weekend. I have nothing to get excited for on Sunday. And but the Rams were busy this week. They traded Aqib Talib, one of their top defensive backs, to the Miami Dolphins, and they traded Aqib and a 5th-round pick to the Dolphins, which is interesting. They're going to get a very late-round draft pick in return from the Dolphins. So basically, this was a salary dump move.
Yeah.
They were trading Aqib Talib. His contract's up at the end of this season. They acquired him from the Denver Broncos about a season and a half ago, and they knew they weren't going to re-sign him. And they owe him a good chunk of money, about $4 million. Wow. So this is a way to get rid of salary, which you can then turn around and put into the new guy, Jalen Ramsey, who they hope to extend in the future here, the very near future.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
sometimes to trade a player and you have to get rid of their salary, you have to give up something along with it. So they gave up a 5th-round pick to the Dolphins in order to make that deal happen. So that was interesting. They have Jalen Ramsey and Dante Fowler Jr., 2 guys they have to figure out if they're going to re-sign those guys.
That's true, yeah.
Some other Rams news. This is kind of scary. Their wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, in that game in London, was knocked out early in the game with a concussion. And it's the 2nd concussion he's had this month.
Oh,
Yep.
gosh.
He had 3 before this season. including when he was playing with the New England Patriots and he was in the Super Bowl. He suffered a concussion.
Oh, yeah.
So he's in his 6th NFL season. That's 5 concussions by my count. Brandon Cooks is only 26 years old. So the Rams want him to go to a specialist. He went to Pittsburgh to consult with somebody to find out.
Absolutely.
Because they're concussions that he's able to bounce back from. I don't know if that's good or bad. You know?
I would think that that's not good.
No, I mean, he'll get a concussion, then he gets cleared. He goes through the NFL's concussion protocol. They make the guys jump through a certain number of hoops to make sure they're okay because of their newfound emphasis in safety in the league. But in this case, he gets them, then he's clear of symptoms, and then they bring him back into play.
Or is he?
Well,
because they're
the
saying he
symptoms
is, but then really, I wonder what his, how his body's feeling, and I don't know. I don't think that's a good thing, especially to just jump back in right after that, and he's so young.
Well, I give the team credit. They signed him to a big, fat contract. They do need him out there, but as Sean McVay, their head coach, said, hey, we got to think about the human first.
Absolutely.
And the football player second. So
I have a question for you. So what's the common number, if there is one, of players to get concussions? Is it a norm kind of thing?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know how often it depends on, I think, your position, first of all. If you're a receiver, a quarterback, a running back, where you're more likely to be hit in a bang-bang situation. The guys in the trenches, the linemen, while they do suffer concussions from time to time, it's a different hit. You're really close to each other. They kind of call that in the phone booth. So you can't get the kind of momentum that you can from a distance. And everybody's different, too. Some guys can get cracked in the head and get right back up.
Yeah.
You look like you have a hard head, Patrick.
I do. Very, very hard and very full of air.
He looks solid, yeah.
Rock solid.
We don't have to worry about any
awesome.
concussions in the booth here. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield. This guy, he's starting to get on a lot of people's nerves, the cocky quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. By the way, the Browns, there was such a hype machine around the Browns. Oh, they're going to be great. They're going to be amazing. And a lot of very smart people picked them to be very successful this year. I should point out, I think they've won. They're 2-5.
Oh,
yeah.
They're 2-5.
Yeah.
And so Baker Mayfield, who's a little on the cocky side, is getting a little testy. And he was having a conversation with the media. They were asking him questions. One reporter wasn't letting up on his line of questioning, and here's what happened.
There was a penalty, so we were negative yardage.
No, but there was a lot of time between snaps.
Well, when the penalty happened and we're behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No. You don't play. You don't know. That's just plain and simple. Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. That's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus, Tony.
And with that, Baker got up and walked out of the interview.
That is hilarious.
Oh, Lord.
Listen, I've been around reporters who've asked dumb questions.
Right.
More often than not, they're all good questions. They're just not always the question that a guy wants to answer.
Well, yeah, right.
So, and this is a guy with a short fuse, Baker Mayfield, and the reporter didn't let up in this case, wanting to find out why the team didn't seem to have a sense of urgency during one of their drives against the New England Patriots. And Baker had enough, and he just couldn't take it. And he couldn't stand the heat, and he got out of the kitchen.
Right, and I know you say, with all your experience, you say you still have to have tact, especially if you're a professional, sports person. But it just, we should see these kind of things more often because sometimes questions are, not the best questions.
And it's tough as a reporter to ask something you
is
think
it?
is
Tell us.
Well, I've been chewed out before. More times
I'm
than I
not
care
gonna
to
ask by
count.
who, yeah.
Well, I can tell you one high-profile guy. When I was a sports reporter a sports anchor in Phoenix, Arizona, doing television sports there, the Lakers came to town. So I went out to cover the Lakers, and I went up, and so I was interviewing mostly Suns players because I was in Phoenix. Yeah. And so then I went to interview my first Laker, and it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he was in a gaggle of reporters.
So awesome.
And he yelled at me. He said, "What are you doing here? Can't you see I'm talking to the they call them the scribes, the writers." He was talking with the writers. So he used to do interviews for TV, and then he would do separate ones with the newspaper. I didn't know that's how he did things, right? I went in with a camera and a microphone, and he just shot me down.
Oh, man, your first rodeo.
And Kareem could be moody. He'll be the first to admit it that while he was a player, he could be quite moody, And then after he retired, I think as he matured, he realized, those guys have a job to do. And so I've had several interviews with him since, and he's always been terrific. So it happens. But listen, they have to learn to to put up with it. That goes with those big fat contracts you get, boys.
That's true. They're getting paid the big bucks.
You got to deal with it. Listen, before we go to break, we want to ask people to post us on Facebook, and we were going to ask them a question.
Yes.
You remember the question we were going to ask them?
Yes, I do. Okay. So Halloween has just ended, right?
Yes.
Halloween was last night.
I had
Awesome
a lot of
holiday.
candy.
Is it too early? You guys tell me. You ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tell us. Is it too early to start jumping on that Christmas carols, Christmas shopping, Christmas
I haven't even taken
posts?
the decorations down yet. I got to do the Halloween decoration. I was so proud of my
Yes.
decorations this year.
Did you have scary
And
ones,
now
or
we
do you
got-
do
yeah,
the big?
no, we do scary ones.
We do scary ones, too.
And now we got to think about Christmas.
Now, Christmas, it's all over in the stores.
Love Christmas. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want a little gap in there. With Thanksgiving, are we forgetting about the turkey?
They're starting
Seriously.
to.
Okay.
Everybody's
I
starting
love
to
that
jump
shit.
over.
So if somebody wants to post us, how do they do that?
Right. Jump on Facebook, KHTS Radio, and make a comment. Tell us what you feel. Tell us what you think, or else you can give us a call. We like calls. I really want to
Me
hear
too.
you.
I like the
You guys could
old-fashioned
be
way.
live.
What's the number, April?
Area code 661-298-5487. Tell us what you think. Is it too early for Christmas?
Okay. Coming up is the fastest man in the world looking for a job in the NFL. Plus, Cobra wrapped steering wheel. Only this time, it's a real Cobra. And as April said, we're going to take your Facebook posts. Plus, we're giving away some free stuff. My Radio Show with Rick Garcia, brought to you by Western Bagel. Radio Show. We want to invite you to participate in the show. You can call us. What's the number again?
Area code 661-298-5487. Give us a call.
And they can post us on Facebook Live?
Yes, post us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio and tell us what you think. Say hi to us. Where is everyone?
Yeah.
We want to say hi.
We're posing a question, all right?
Yes.
I
Okay.
can't find it because you're in weather. So
Oh, sorry. Is it too early for Christmas? Is it too early for Christmas, Rick?
We just Halloween. My decorations for Halloween are still out. I think it is too early.
I think so, too.
Out of respect to Halloween,
Yeah.
and I love Christmas. I mean, I love it. But out of respect to Halloween, I think we need to have a little buffer there before, and that's why I think that's why Thanksgiving is there, right?
Well, yeah, we need to give thanks. Oh, Patrick's raising his hand.
Now, I actually have, you're right. It is too early for Christmas because we just had Halloween, and then we have, Thanksgiving coming up in a month.
Yeah.
Now, I also did something that's kind of against that. It's not hypocritical, but I did buy some Christmas lights for my house.
What?
But I work at a store that has Christmas lights, and I'm getting ahead of people because now that Halloween's over, and I know because I've been there about a good 2 years, so I see it happen. Now is the time when all of a sudden everybody's taking everything.
Just don't put the lights up yet.
Oh no, we have no.
Don't plug them in.
After
no Christmas music yet.
Yeah. Oh, please no.
We have a tradition in my
Please
house
no.
to play, or not play, to put up Christmas lights the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
My
so
dad,
right around there.
That's a
That's a
I think
tradition,
that's
right?
perfect.
It's my dad's tradition.
Well, if you have an opinion on it, please post us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio, right?
Yes, and give us a call, 661-298-5487.
All right, time for Rick's Replay.
Rick's Replay.
Well, the perfect San Francisco 49ers went to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Fourth quarter, Andy Isabella hauls in a short pass for Murray and flies 88 yards to the end zone for a touchdown. Arizona goes for 2 and converts. The Cardinals trail by 3 with about 5 minutes to go. But San Francisco runs out the clock. Jimmy Garoppolo tosses 4 TD passes. The 49ers now move to 8-0.
News to me.
Well, the Red Hot Lakers first place in their division. Anthony Davis, everything we were hoping he would be, as he's just been terrific so far for the Lakers. He had a monster night the other night, scored 40 points, had 20 rebounds earlier this week. But here was this is why they call this news to me. Here's what's news to me. He set a new Lakers attempted free throw record, I should say free throw record, period. He hit 26 out of 27 free throws.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
You guys want to take a guess as to who held the record, or do you already, if you already know?
Oh, do you? Wait.
I think
it shocked me. This is why it's news to me. That's why we call this segment News to Me.
Go
ahead, take a guess.
I think isn't it Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain?
No, Wilt was horrible at free throws.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he
okay.
was bad.
I could have sworn I saw. Never mind.
I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe he was up there somewhere, but
I think
he did not hold the record, though.
No, all right. Got me on
Is
that
it
one.
someone really famous? Can you give us a clue? Or
I'll say this: he's on the team now.
Oh, then I'm not going to take a guess.
On the team now.
I was shocked when I heard this. Yeah.
And he held the record as a Laker, right? Or was it?
Yeah. He set the Laker. You have to be a Laker to have the Laker record.
Was it
Come on, Patrick.
KCP? No.
You're okay. Dwight Howard.
Really?
Dwight Howard had the free throw record for the Lakers, and now it's held by Anthony
When
Davis.
did he do that?
26 out of 27.
Oh, back in the first time.
Back when he played with Kobe the last time he was
That
here
makes
in
sense.
2013, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But
been a
for
while.
some reason on Wilt, because Wilt was my favorite player growing up, and for some reason I thought he stunk at free throws. But maybe I'm thinking of Kareem, because a lot of these big men, a lot of the centers, generally speaking, although Anthony Davis has proven that wrong, a lot of centers were terrible free throw shooters. I mean, Shaq was, remember Hack-a-Shaq?
I mean, don't they make the phrase "shacked in a foo" like off of him?
But maybe Wilt was good. I don't know. Usain Bolt's talking about two teams that if they called him, he would go play for them in the NFL. For those of you who don't know who Usain Bolt is, he was the fastest man in the world. He set the record in the 100 meters, 9.58 seconds in the 100 meters. 100 meters, 109 yards. When I used to be in track, they did everything by yards, but then the rest of the world was doing meters. So 100 meters, 9.58 seconds. And so Usain Bolt, who's ridiculously fast, but he's 33 now.
I was just going to ask how old he is.
They think he still runs like a 4.240, which in football terms, that's very fast. He's 6'5", so he'd be a great target. But he said that he would be willing to consider going into the NFL if two teams call him. Take a guess who they are.
Oh, tell me it's not the Patriots.
Patriots are one of them.
Oh, give me a break. And the Green Bay
Packers.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, those teams, they need to retire.
There you go. So at this point, I don't. I mean, unless they call him, and the Patriots.
Has anyone reached out to him prior?
You know what's funny? I don't know if anybody's ever had talks with him in the past, and it has been tried before. The Raiders signed a guy named Willie Gault back in the day when he used to be a track star.
Okay.
NFL teams have always been fascinated with guys that are in track and field, especially if they can run and jump.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? But it doesn't mean they can catch a football.
True.
And it doesn't mean that they can take a hit.
Oh, definitely
also
not.
very true.
You know, that's why it doesn't happen all the time. There was a wedding party, and as the bride and groom were getting in their car, they opened the door and they saw a cobra wrapped around the steering wheel. Not a Ford Cobra, not a Ford Mustang Cobra, but a real cobra was wrapped around the steering wheel of their wedding car. Well, let me put it to this way. You know it's not here when
not in Santa Clarita.
when they're in a town where they can call the snake helpline.
Oh, how cool is that? Not ghost.
So I don't think we have snake helplines out here. This is in West India, and so they called the snake helpline. And the guy who came out to get the snake was a senior volunteer.
Oh my goodness!
So,
but
what kind of gig is that? You're a volunteer to go catch cobras. Well, why would anybody sign up for that gig?
Because he's awesome
for free?
at it. Yeah, he has experience.
He got the snake. He got one of those tongs and he put it in a bag. But the thing was flaring its. You know how they flare their head. They're
so scary.
Yeah, isn't that something?
That's really scary.
Aren't you afraid of those?
I'm not afraid of sharks, but they give me the creepy crawlies.
I had a snake growing up. I had a couple of king snakes when I was growing up.
You're a snake guy, huh?
Well, I just thought they were fascinating when I was younger. I wouldn't want one now, but when I was a young guy. You guys want to give away some free stuff? What do you think?
Yes.
Free stuff.
The first person to call 661-298-5487 or message us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio with the right answer to my question will win a $25 gift card from Hanu Coffee.
All right.
All right, we're talking about free throws. How about scoring? This former Laker is the NBA's all-time leading scorer with 38,387 points. The NBA's all-time leading scorer, he was a former Laker, 38,387 points. Is he Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Jack Nicholson? Which former Laker is the NBA's all-time leading scorer with 38,387 points? Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Jack Nicholson? You can call us at 661-298-5487 or message us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio. If you're the first person with the right answer, you win a $25 gift card from Hanu Coffee. We have somebody already?
Yeah, I think
so.
so.
I'll let you guys work on that. Coming up, a pro wrestler / actor, is a wonderful gesture for fire first responders. Plus, did you know that nature shows may help you out with stress? My radio show with Rick Garcia brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. 103.97, they host Utah on Sunday. The Rams don't play this week, but they are still busy. The team traded defensive back Aqib Talib and a 5th-round pick to Miami for a late-round pick. The deal was basically a salary dump for the Rams. They head to Pittsburgh a week from Sunday. The Chargers fired offensive coordinator Ken Wisenhunt. They are 23rd in the league in scoring, averaging a little more than 19 points a game. And I'll tell you what, the Chargers have their work cut out for them as they will host the Green Bay Packers at 1:25 on Sunday on CBS.
Friday Night Lights.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Lights on my radio show with Rick Garcia. This is KHTS co-sports director Wyatt Smith, and this week we hear from some of the key players in Hart's win over West Ranch last week, which ended the Wildcats' undefeated streak this season and opened the door for Hart to claim a share of the league title. First, we hear from wide receiver Ashton Thomas, who came up big for Hart with 11 catches for 174 yards and a touchdown, about how it feels to be able to produce in such a major way for his team.
It's a blessing. This is what off-season training and this whole summer was all about, being able to come up in the clutch, being able to make plays for my teams. And big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, so I'm blessed.
Some of those catches Thomas ripped off wouldn't have been possible without the protection given to Hart quarterback Zach Johnson by his linemen. Offensive tackle Tommy Adame spoke about what makes their front five gel so well.
It's a brotherhood here, and I think we just all have each other's back, and we know as soon as we step on that field, we're a unit. And I think that's how everyone feels, and I think that's what allows us to really handle blitzes and stuff, is because we all trust each other. We all do our job, we all have faith in each other. I think that's what it comes down to, is just faith and knowing that the person next to you is doing their job, and I think that's what we have on the line.
The Wildcats never rolled over against Hart. They took some heaves late in the fourth, desperately looking to find the end zone and keep the game alive. But Hart's Travis Gill came up with the game-end interception. Here's what he had to say about how it felt to take down the undefeated West Ranch and know that his team now has a shot at a share of the league title if the Wildcats can take down Valencia across town on Friday night.
It feels good, it really does, but at the same time, we still got to play Golden Valley. That's a good team. So we need to get the W this week and, have a good week of practice, and, whatever happens in that game happens. But, our season's just getting started. We still got playoffs, and we got to keep going.
Hart returns home for a matchup with Golden Valley at Cougar Stadium Friday night at 7 p.m. Valencia and West Ranch meet at Valencia High School with league title implications on the line, and Saugus visits Canyon as those teams each look to pick up their first league win and avoid a last-place finish. And that's this week's Friday Night Lights. Catch our segment each week on my radio show with Rick Garcia, and for all your Foothill League scores, recaps, and everything Santa Clarita sports, follow at KHTS Sports on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and go to hometownstation.com.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
In a Hollywood Minute.
Why do I
love it.
I love
it
that
so much.
That's just
So
wrong
strong.
how much I love that. This is a neat story. John Cena, who's the former pro wrestler, I guess he still wrestles, but he's also an actor, and he donated $500,000 to first responders that are battling the wildfires.
Love
out here.
it.
He called them our heroes.
They are.
And now he's also playing a firefighter in an upcoming film called Playing with Fire on November 8th.
Oh, okay.
Pretty cool, right?
Very, very cool.
John Cena.
I love hearing about that
Do either
stuff.
one of you guys, were you guys ever pro wrestling fans at all?
No.
I'm kind of a pro wrestling fan.
I was as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
And then, and it was fun, but it got really big when the Hulk got popular back in those days.
So big.
All the Hulksters know, brother. Take your vitamins. Anybody, are you guys Stranger Things fans, either one of you?
Ding,
Oh,
ding, ding,
yes,
ding.
indeed.
Yeah.
Then you know who David Harbour is, right? The actor David Harbour. He plays Sheriff Hopper
He rules.
on Stranger Things. He was doing a scene with Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike Wheeler, and then, as I like to say, Millie Bobby Brown. Millie Bobby Brown
Millie
was
Bobby
playing.
Brown.
She plays 11, the character 11 in the show, and they had a hard time getting through the scene because David Harbour had a really difficult time with one word. Let's listen.
Your mom called. She needs you home right away.
Is everything okay?
No, I don't think so. It's your grandma.
What?
It's your grandma.
Yeah!
No, I don't think so.
Such a crazy season. Ready?
Okay.
You got this.
It's your grandma. I don't know. It's your grandma.
The word is so funny.
I can't do this.
I like that one too.
It's a simple word, grandma. Right?
It makes sense, yeah. Look at me, I'm stuttering over nothing.
They were having a blast.
Yeah.
I'm sure the crew was laughing. The director's probably going, come on, we've got to get through the scene.
Yeah.
It's costing us money. Time is money. That's funny, though. It's funny, the little things that can break them up and get them out of character. It's and then, that's the fun side of it. And then you have the other side of that where they go nuts or get crazy with a crew member or something.
Yes. We don't want to see that.
Do you guys watch any nature shows like wildlife, like the lions and tigers, or the penguins, or the bumblebees around the?
Every once in a while, if it's on, like just as a calming thing, yeah.
They're always so neat.
Well,
yeah, I know, right?
They are beautifully filmed, and it's amazing how they can hide these cameras and get all the shots they get. If you like watching wildlife and nature shows on TV, you're going to be in heaven starting tomorrow with 24 hours of nature programming. It's going to be once a week. It's on BBC America. They're going to call it Wonderstruck for those 24 hours. And according to Susan Kresnica, she's a cultural anthropologist, apparently they've done research and they found that nature can act as a sort of a therapy for humans.
Right. I can see that.
We conducted research that asked our participants to give us feedback right after they watched this type of content. They weren't taking a survey or a poll. They weren't in a lab or in a research facility. We had them share feedback when they watched this kind of content on their own time in the course of their own daily lives. And they told us about how they felt right after they finished viewing. What were the emotions they experienced? What were the thoughts it left them considering? And so we took all that information and we heard our research participants talking about these distinct and really powerful benefits that they received. They described feeling a sense of relaxation and calm, feeling a heightened sense of gratitude when they watched this content. Our research participants who went into their viewing in an anxious state, 91% of them said they had a reduction of anxiety when they watched this type of content, which is really astonishing. It's a really powerful tool for calming ourselves down. Beyond that, they also talked about this amazing sense of awe and feeling small compared to the grandeur and vastness of the natural world that they were able to see in this type of content. And we thought that was really important because that sense of I'm just a small part of something bigger enhanced their feeling of connection. And heaven knows at this moment in time, anything that can make us feel more connected to one another seems important and really worth creating opportunities for us to experience.
We have to be honest, sometimes it can be a little unsettling when nature takes its course, and I'm referring to dinner time in the animal kingdom. That's when I have to look away.
Yeah, I can tell you we were really interested in how viewers reacted to the difficult things in nature, whether it's combat or, prey and predator, or whether it's death and loss. The strange thing that we found is that people, when you're watching it in this context, we don't actually get the same sense of sadness or the same sense of loss that we would get if we were watching that happen at a human level. And I think it's because we see those forces as part of that bigger scheme. We see that, predator-prey relationships and death and birth, right, that it's all part of this larger cycle. And it helps us not judge it quite as much. It just is, rather than something that that's judgment-worthy or that we feel that we should that we have to put ourselves into in that same way emotionally. So there was a sense of distance and acceptance. We even had people who said it helps me navigate those types of things in the human world because I remember actually that's part of what's going on around me in nature.
That's Susan Kresnica. She's a cultural anthropologist. I never thought I would interview a cultural anthropologist. But
super cool.
She's fascinating. And if you want to test this theory, or maybe you just love nature shows in general, you can watch BBC America on a Saturday, and it'll become what they call a micro network. It'll be, for that 24 hours, will be called Wonderstruck, and it's 24 hours of nature programming, which, again, most of it beautiful, but once the animals start going after other animals, I'm not too excited about that. That's
scary.
Turn away. You don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
I did want to give you Rick's review here on a movie. Dolomite Is My Name. I had a chance to see over the weekend. It's rated R. It's a drama. It's an hour and 58 minutes, and it's on Netflix right now. It stars Eddie Murphy, Wesley Snipes, Divine Joy Randolph. It's the story of a floundering comedian, Rudy Ray Moore. He turns into a word-of-mouth sensation in 1970s Los Angeles. He gets the idea to make a blaxploitation film, and in the 70s, those were very popular. The quality of which rivals the Ed Wood movies, which were really bad quality movies, science fiction movies that Ed Wood did in the 50s. And Rudy Ray Moore did this in the 70s. But against all odds, he finds impressive box office success. So that's this little snippet of his life. It's a movie that really makes you feel like you're living in the 70s, which was my era. The music, which in those days was called soul.
Yeah.
You know, we think of hip-hop today, its roots are in soul in the 70s. And so you feel wonderfully nostalgic when you're watching the movie. Eddie Murphy's fantastic. I also loved Wesley Snipes and Divine Joy Randolph. They are wonderful. It's incredibly raunchy, though. Do not let your 13-year-old watch it.
Okay.
Incredibly,
Thanks
I
for
know
the heads up.
it's incredibly raunchy, but so was Rudy Ray Moore. His comedy in real life, it's based on a real person. And in fact, he did a lot of rhyming comedy, which led some to call him the godfather of rap. So I give Dolomite Is My Name 3 out of 5 on my on-demand scale. So 3 out of 5 G's. In theaters now, lots of big ones. The Irishman. The Irishman, rated R, drama, suspense.
That. We talked about that a while ago.
So get ready. It's 3 hours, 30 minutes.
Oh.
So it's going to be limited release initially, and then eventually later this month you can see it on Netflix, who produced the film.
Oh, right.
Stars Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci. Need I say more?
Yes.
Martin Scorsese is the director. It's a biographical crime thriller that follows Frank Sheeran as he recalls his past working for the Buffalino crime family, and he reflects on his most prolific hits and his involvement with his good friend Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance, or his claims. Another one, Motherless in Brooklyn, rated R. It's 2 hours, 24 minutes. Bruce Willis, Edward Norton, Alec Baldwin. And this is set in 1950s New York. The movie follows a lonely private detective living with Tourette's as he tries to solve the murder of his mentor and his only friend. So good acting in that. And Terminator Dark Fate opens this weekend. It's an action sci-fi, 2 hours, 8 minutes, starring Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mackenzie Davis. And this takes place 2 decades after Sarah Connor prevented Judgment Day, and a deadly new Terminator travels back through time to try to end mankind as we know it. So of all those 3, I think I got to see Irishman first.
For sure. Number 1 on my list.
Probably wait. Motherless Brooklyn looks good also, but maybe on demand. And then Terminator. You know, those big movies you tend to want to see on the big screens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if none of that catches your fancy, there's some other things to do.
Santa Clarita Nights.
Hometown. Things to do this weekend in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Your community station.
It's Menji, and this week in our valley, it's Family Thrill Night at Elevate Church. Sunset in the Vineyard, presented by the Assistance League Santa Clarita. The City of Santa Clarita's Marathon, Heroes Edition. It's the Heart Regiment Marching Band Rampage, and Six Flags Magic Mountain Fright Fest now through November 3rd. Did you know there's even more things to do in Santa Clarita when you head to hometownstation.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter?
Your hometown station.
And if the weather holds up like it was when we all came in here,
it's going to
be a great weekend.
Gorgeous.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, coming up, there were a few controversial calls in the World Series, and there's a new push for robot umpires. Can you believe that? So we'll talk about that next hour. Plus, we're going to be joined by Kings left winger Alex Iafallo, and we're going to talk some hockey with Alex and a few other things. My radio show with Rick Garcia, brought to you by Western Bay late round pick. You say that's lopsided? Well, the deal was a salary dump for the Rams. They head to Pittsburgh a week from Sunday. And the Chargers fired offensive coordinator Ken Wisenhunt They are 23rd in the league in scoring, averaging a little more than 19 points a game. The Chargers have their work cut out for them on Sunday when they host the Green Bay Packers at 1:25 on CBS. So, you know what? We were talking last hour about how it doesn't matter how much money you have, how famous you are, how talented you are. Everybody can be affected by Mother Nature. And that was the case out here in Southern California. Lots of celebrities, including King James. He and his family, LeBron James and his family, forced to evacuate from their home due to the Getty fire.
Really scary.
Yeah, that was scary. In fact, here are his thoughts.
It's funny. I was talking to my wife about it a little bit. I said I hadn't been in a fire drill since like the 7th grade. You know, just challenging. You know, at that hour, you know, getting my family, getting my kids, and everybody having to evacuate at such a rapid rate. You know, you don't have much time to really think about what you can get or what you can do. You just got to get out and get the safety. So, you know, first of all, more than anything, my appreciation and you know, and loyalty to the first responders. You know, those guys, men and women, are unbelievable what they're doing and their bravery throughout this, you know, throughout this time. You know, and anytime you're dealing with such a situation like that, they're the reason why you know, things can be a lot less worse than they possibly could be. So it's an amazing job what they do and their commitment on you know, going on right now.
Yeah, and LeBron thanked the first responders by sending out a taco truck.
Love
Isn't that great?
Yes.
Awesome.
And,
because everybody loves tacos.
Everybody does.
Seriously.
Men and women, they're sweating like crazy, you know, trying to protect homes and even more importantly, lives. And to have that taco truck pull up on behalf of LeBron James, that was probably very cool to them.
So awesome.
This happened for LeBron about 2 a.m. on Monday, and Lakers coach Frank Vogel said, look, you don't have to come into practice on Monday if you don't want to. And LeBron said, I want to be there. I want to be there with my team. So what Vogel did do, I think this was planned ahead of time anyway, is they opted out of an on-court practice, and instead they kind of made it fun for the players. They brought out magician David Blaine, and they had kind of a series, an ongoing series for the team called Genius Talks. It was organized by their GM, Rob Pelinka, and it includes speakers like Denzel Washington, Kendrick Lamar, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So that sounds like a lot of fun.
I love all those three guys. Those
under
guys
some
are amazing.
stressful times, and so that was cool. And the first responders, I know, grateful to LeBron for that taco truck that came out too. The Nationals win their very first World Series in franchise history.
All right,
pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
right?
It was awesome, Rick.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead with yours.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's crazy with this series because no home team won, Rick.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Isn't that weird?
That's very weird.
Right, because the Nationals won the first 2 games in Houston.
Yeah.
And then they go back to D.C. figuring they're going to wrap, at least I was thinking they were going to wrap it up. Then Houston wins 3 straight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the away team is in the lead. They go back to Washington again. To Houston again. And the Nationals won it. Okay, tell me the name of the Washington Nationals before they were the Washington Nationals.
Ooh.
You young people.
I'll let Patrick take this one. As I Google really fast.
I'm drawing a blank on this one, Rick.
Okay. So they were the Washington Senators. And then they moved up to Montreal, became the Expos, and then eventually wound back up in Washington as the Nationals.
I like that name better.
And it was fun to root for them. I mean, we saw what they did to the Dodgers. They had the same heroes in Game 7 that knocked the Dodgers out in Game 5 of that series. Howie Kendrick and Anthony Rendon. Both homered in that Game 7. And so, needless to say, the Nationals were fired up after the game. Here's pitcher Max Scherzer and Howie Kendrick.
Unbelievable. What a moment. What a team. What a team. What a game. Just everybody up and down the lineup, grinding it out. Corbin coming in, throwing those 3 shutout innings. How do you close the door? Clutch base hits. Just the baseball we played over this past month has just been unreal. Just the team, what we've done together and stay together, it's a moment you'll never forget.
All these years, all this hard work, this year, the struggles early, I mean, this is what it's about right here. This is what it's about. I mean, words can't even describe this feeling. I mean, it's phenomenal. This group of guys that we got here, we fought all year. I mean, this makes it sweet. This is so sweet right now.
And so congratulations to the Nationals.
Absolutely. Did you hear all that? That just made me, it gave me
I
the
know.
goosebumps.
Got y'all fired
so
up.
awesome.
Couldn't happen to a nicer group of guys. We were. I went out with the KHTS sports department, and we went out to Game 5 of the Dodgers series with Washington, and they were very respectful in their winning. You know, when they knocked out the Dodgers, very respectful of the guys that were in the other dugout.
That's always
as
neat.
they
Yeah,
say.
that's
So,
cool.
so they were good winners, and so I was happy to cheer for them as they got to the World Series. This World Series, though, not without its controversy. You know, there's always got to be controversy, doesn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
And just as an example, in Game 6, I think is it Trey Turner who was running to first base on a swinging bunt. They throw to first base. He's safe, but they call him out because they say he ran inside the baseline. Now, when that play first happened, I was listening on the radio. The announcer said it was a miscarriage of justice. It was the most horrible call of all time. When I got home and saw the replay,
Did you agree?
I thought the umpires were right. He was inside the baseline. There's a little lane that goes all the way down. It's a chalked lane that goes all the way down to first base from home plate. And he looked inside the baseline to me. And the first baseman dropped the ball. They had a minor collision there. That was a play that some people thought was a bad call. But there were also some calls in Game 5 involving home plate umpire Lance Barksdale. And they were balls and strikes calls, basically, which more and more people are getting fed up with the strike zones. They believe, especially the players, that maybe they're a little inconsistent in how they call balls and strikes. One of them came in the 7th inning. The Astros were leading 4-1. There were 2 outs. Ryan Zimmerman is at first base, and he was there after a full count pitch. And Astros started Garrett Cole, who was pitching a tremendous game. Martin Maldonado was at the plate, and there were some questionable calls on balls and strikes, and then Victor Robles comes to the plate. Same thing. So the umpire made a couple of calls that were questionable. Here's what it sounded like.
And caught the strike zone. Yeah, there's going to be.
World Series! Oh my God! Runner goes, pitches, strike 3, and
Did you hear from the dugout? It's the World Series.
Yes.
In other words, you got to get these calls right.
Oh my goodness.
And so you can argue all day long that when they do the coverage. In this case, it was Fox in the World Series. They have that little, and all the networks do it now, where they put that square.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a rectangle.
Rectangular square. Yeah.
And it kind of shows you when balls are outside or they're low or they're high. And if you trust that square, you figure if the ball touches any of that line, it should be a strike.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anything outside it, if you can see a little daylight in there, should be a ball. So this has prompted a new debate again. There are people in the game of baseball, including players, that want to see robot umpires.
Yes.
This is a serious conversation that's going on.
Wow.
They tried it in the minor leagues, and I'm guessing it's similar to what they did in tennis many years ago when they would show shots being out of bounds, and you couldn't tell if it was hitting the line or if it was outside the line, and so they had these I don't know how you would describe it, but almost like
a blueprint.
Well, like radar. It's almost to where the sensors can detect if the ball hits the line or not. They would do that similarly in baseball, where you'd have some sort of sensor system. Like when you're in your car and you're about to go out of the lane, and it beeps or it makes you go back. There's a way with cameras that you could probably put some sensors in there that would tell you whether it's a ball or a strike. How do you guys feel about that?
Very interesting.
It takes the human element out of the game. What do you guys think?
Well, it takes. Well, go on, April.
No.
Okay. I think it does take the human aspect out of it. However, though, I think it'd be a lot more, clean and crisp on a lot of these calls. We'd see a lot, as far as strike zone wise, we'd see a lot less controversial. Is it a strike? Is it not a strike? Calls, because a robot's not going to be like, maybe. Robot's like, no, it's cold, hard facts right there.
Yeah, and will it talk? Because it would be really cool if we could just hear him say, "You are out." That's a whole different take. But on a serious note.
And by the way, no, and along those lines, you have James Earl Jones be the voice of the
umpire.
You are out.
That would
Use
be
the
perfect.
false.
That would be perfect.
You are out.
But on a serious note, I think it is necessary, especially for the World Series. Very, very important games.
Right.
We kind of need, or if like in football, you could challenge it. And
Okay, so you can do that on replay, and are we satisfied as fans when the replay shows that the referees were wrong and they got the play right? Nobody holds hard feelings against a referee, and even the referees are like, "Ooh, that's I'm glad we got it right."
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why this seems different to me. The human element. By the way, umpires are incredible. I don't care what level you're at.
Yeah.
I know there's some bad calls. I played baseball my whole life, including into these amateur adult leagues after I was done playing competitively, and I'm always amazed at how good most umpires' eyes are.
Right.
I don't know how they can see things so well like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ball
Yeah.
coming that fast, you're blocked out by a catcher sometimes, you got a hitter swinging the bat.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'm amazed at how good they are, but it's not good enough apparently.
Well, not all the time. And so you need accuracy, especially for really important games. So throw in a robot.
Well, so once again, automation taking over the world. What's going to be left for us to do if we can't even ump a baseball
it's
game?
scary.
For goodness sakes.
Terminator.
Terminator. Well, give me if the Terminator was calling balls and strikes.
Strike out. Strike the first strike. You're out of here. Get out.
Okay. All right.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
There you go, Terminator umpire. And if you argue the call, he just blows you up with his big gun.
You have been terminated.
Okay, we better move on. Coming up, would Kobe Bryant consider a return to the NBA? Plus, Southern California will be expecting a royal Thanksgiving visit. My radio show with Rick Garcia brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia.
Talking about decorations.
Yeah, candy
there's
wrappers
promos.
still on the floor, right?
Yeah.
We're also talking Christmas, right?
Yeah, is
And
it
then
too soon?
What are the thoughts of some of our listeners and viewers?
Well, let's see. A lot of them are saying it is too soon.
Yeah.
Somebody
Do
even...
you have no.
Oh, yeah. Someone even said on here...
Do you have a name and where they're from?
Yeah, let me find it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, let me have. Let's do this while you're looking that up. Who's the winner of our? Let me let you look that up.
Oh, yeah.
We did give away some free stuff. We gave away a $25 gift card to Hanu Coffee. Tell me you have that. There it is. Johnny from Santa Clarita won a $25 gift card from Hanu Coffee. He got the question to for free stuff that we were asking in the 1 o'clock hour. We're going to also do that in the 2 o'clock hour here as well. We're going to give away some more stuff. So congratulations, Johnny in Santa Clarita.
Congratulations.
Johnny called like that. I mean,
He was so fast.
I barely got the answer out. So,
And
the
Paul,
question out, yeah.
Paul from the Inland Empire
Yes.
also answered correctly. He
Did he?
also
Yeah, he
gave the
wasn't-
correct
he wasn't
one.
first, though. That's
he
the-
was not first.
All right. Any other comments? We were talking about robot umpires
We were
last hour,
talking
too,
about
and-
robots.
yeah.
Yvonne from Arcadia said that she is totally against robots in
Robot
baseball.
umpires, yeah.
So, yeah.
Robots in baseball.
Robots
Well,
in
at least
baseball.
umpires, right?
Yeah.
That's, listen, if you want to post us on Facebook, you can do that at KHTS Radio and give us your thoughts. In the meantime, here's Rick's replay.
Rick's replay.
And the perfect San Francisco 49ers went to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Fourth quarter, Andy Isabella hauls in a short pass from Murray and flies 88 yards to the end zone for a touchdown. Arizona goes for 2 and they convert, and the Cardinals trail by just 3 with about 5 minutes to go. But San Francisco runs out the clock. Jimmy Garoppolo tosses 4 touchdown passes. The 49ers are now 8-0, if you can believe that.
News to me.
News to me. Kobe Bryant was asked if he would return to the NBA if he were guaranteed a ring, a championship ring.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it, if you were going to join the Lakers with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma, that could guarantee a ring, right?
You would think, yeah.
I think it would ruin the team.
Yeah.
Because everything goes through Kobe.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it works. And now they're a team again. And so I think that's a bad idea. But I will say this, Kobe responded by saying, no. I like my rings the hard way. I like to fight through them. I don't like to jump into the easy route. Yeah.
So good on him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be. I get that. During the World Series, I don't know if you heard about this story. Garrett Cole was pitching, a wonderfully talented pitcher for the Houston Astros, and at one point during the game, you can see the fans behind home plate when you have the camera point of view that's behind the pitcher.
Yeah.
So you see the pitcher pitching, and you can see the fans behind home plate. Apparently, 2 women flashed the pitcher behind the backstop in Game 5, right? They flashed him, and you know what that means. You can use your imagination.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. These 2 women were removed from the stadium, and they have since been banned for life.
Wow.
From going to baseball games. Now, it's an old trick, although, I mean, the flashing part took it to the ultimate extreme, but in a lot of college campuses, they'll hold up centerfold, models in bikinis. They'll hold up pictures behind the basket.
Oh my
so
God.
when guys are shooting free throws, you'll see a
Good
whole
distraction
group
there.
of students put that up for a distraction.
And in the 70s, flashing and that was popular.
Yeah,
running across the field.
What did they call that?
Streaking.
Streaking, thank you. And that was, I think that happened during my brother's high school graduation or something like that too.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, it was a high school or college, I don't know, but they ran through, that's where people would run
naked.
out of nowhere naked across a baseball field or a public venue. It was a real popular thing, especially in the 70s.
Oh, well, that was during the break normally, but yeah, this is a clear distraction.
Yeah,
if
this was right behind home plate, and I can't imagine if I was in the middle of a pitch, how that would have gone.
Yeah, I hope they. I wonder if they got paid to do that.
That's a good question. I don't know how they pulled that off. Here's a story of a woman who wanted to avoid paying the extra baggage fees, and you know how expensive it can be to bring if you have any extra luggage now. The airlines they zap you for everything. So in order to avoid it, this woman faked pregnancy.
Oh.
And what she did, she thought the baggage fees were excessive. She was flying from Melbourne to Sydney, obviously in Australia. And over there, you can, for a 7-pound bag or hand luggage, you can pay an extra $60.
Oh.
So she just started stuffing her belongings into her. She had a jumpsuit on. So she'd made it look like she had a belly, and then she had a big behind, and just stuffed all kinds of stuff in there. And
smart.
Well, here's the thing. So the good news is they caught her.
Oh, I wonder how they caught her.
I don't know if it was through, the security, going through the camera part of it,
Maybe,
security, or if they just said, "Ma'am, you're a little, you're a little lumpy there."
Yeah, it's a little awkward
it's
lump.
It's not exactly a round baby bump, but a little bit lumpy.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
In a Hollywood Minute.
Well, the landscape could be changing out here in Southern California. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry apparently are going to be spending Thanksgiving out here.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, in the Los Angeles area.
She's homesick, I bet.
Well, that could be. And boy, they are under the microscope out there, these royal
so
couples.
much.
Yeah.
But she knew that going in, so.
By the way, do we need any royals? Do we really need royal families? We make such a big deal out of them. What do they do? They don't do anything. They don't run the country over there, right?
No,
Do we
I'm
really
not
need
very
them?
interested in all that.
There's some
but a lot of people are.
Love that.
Yes,
yeah.
they watch the whole thing a little bit.
Well, they're going to celebrate Thanksgiving out here, apparently in Los Angeles.
Very cool.
Saying they need much needed family time. Meghan's mother lives in Los Angeles, and so they're planning on spending Thanksgiving there.
Good for them.
In fact, they're talking about they're going to take 6 weeks off from the royal duties. There are even some rumors that they're contemplating moving out here permanently.
Wow, she's really homesick.
Well, I mean, she was an actress, of course, here in the States. What she was a
Successful
show,
actress.
Suits, I think, was the
Yes.
show that she was in. And so there have been a couple of documentaries that have come out in England talking about there's some strained relationships going on between the two brothers, Harry and William, and maybe they just need a break. Listen, you know how tough families can be, right? We all know this.
Yes, yes, and she's under the radar.
Yeah. Especially
big time.
Especially on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's the worst of all family times is during Thanksgiving, don't you guys think?
Well, but normally people are happy and they're having some
they're
spirits.
Supposed to be, and then all of a sudden you bring up politics or religion or something.
My family doesn't.
You guys don't talk?
Thank goodness. No, we talk a lot. We talk a lot, but it's always just
happy
fun,
stuff.
happy
Well,
times.
that's good.
Yeah.
The Batman release date has come out, and we now know the cast and the villains and everything you need to know. You're a big Batman fan, right, Patrick?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
yeah.
so here you go. The release date for Batman is going to be June 25th, 2021. So next
that's
summer,
a long
right?
time.
It is a long time, isn't it? The Batman director this time around is Matt Reeves, and the cast is Robert Pattinson is going to be Batman.
All right.
Were you a fan of Pattinson? Either one of you? Was it the Twilight franchise that he came on the scene?
I wasn't a fan of that.
No,
No.
Yeah. I watched them. I mean, they were interesting, but not a big fan.
So he'll be Batman. Jeffrey Wright is going to be Commissioner Gordon. He is in, what's the sci-fi that he's in? Oh, gosh, I can't remember all of a sudden. And then Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. That'll be exciting.
That's a good one.
And then Paul, is it Dano or Dano? I don't know why I don't know this. Paul Dano, but he's going to be the Riddler. And that brings us to the question, who's your favorite Batman? Let me go first. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
When Michael Keaton was announced as the first Batman, I thought, gosh, I don't know. You wanted something to suave and debonair and everything. But he was wonderful. He was wonderful because he's such a great actor. So you'd look past the other stuff. But he's not my favorite.
Ooh, really?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Without a doubt, my favorite Batman. So,
interesting.
How about you guys?
Well, my favorite Batman, as you were just talking about Michael Keaton, it actually is Michael Keaton. That's my favorite Batman because it's not just Michael Keaton was known for being funny. He was a funny man back then on movies. Yeah. And then he just took on this dark debonair type Batman and went serious, and I thought that was really, really good because I was a fan of Michael Keaton back in the day, and then that movie was just awesome. And then Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Those are my two favorite Batman Jokers, hands down. I'm kudos to Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. Those guys are awesome as well, but they just the iconicness is in my heart with
Michael
Jack
Keaton. And he
Nicholson.
did a movie. I remember interviewing him not long after he did a movie, and I wish I could remember, Late Shift or something like that with I don't know if it was a Ron Howard movie or I don't remember, but it was when he first came on the scene, Michael Keaton. So you're right, we thought him as a comic in terms of his acting ability, but a wonderful dramatic actor. Do you have a favorite Batman?
You know what? I don't really like Batman, so I'm indifferent with all the characters. I don't really have a favorite or
not a big Marvel. Are you not really a Marvel?
I am a huge Marvel, and because of my son. But Batman, I don't know. It just they come and they go.
So you probably like Thor then, right?
Thor is handsome.
Chris, what's his name?
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
You know what? I think my fiance looks like Thor.
Out, he can't fly, I just want to be clear. He can't really fly. Just so you know. Did you hear that Bill Murray applied for a job at P.F. Chang's?
Really?
Yeah, the actor, yeah. He was in the Atlanta airport. He says that P.F. Chang's he just loves P.F. Chang's at the Atlanta airport, which I think is the busiest airport in the country, maybe even
I wonder why.
In the world perhaps. But he said he was there. He said everybody was so happy. He just loved how he was treated, how everything went. So he thought, hey, I want an application. He applied for a job.
That's hilarious.
Later on, P.F. Chang's caught wind of it. They didn't realize it was the real Bill Murray. And so their PR people came on and tweeted, "You're hired. When can you start?"
Is he going to go in?
I think he's busy probably.
Well, you know what? He actually is known to pop in randomly at certain places and just start talking to people.
Yeah, he is. He's very
he's very cool like that.
We're talking about things that are going to be in the theaters now. The Irishman, which is Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. Martin Scorsese directs it. It's a crime thriller that follows Frank Sheeran as he recalls his past working for the Buffalino crime family and reflects on his most prolific hits. You're dying to see this, right?
I want to see this. So you said, I remember you mentioning, I think a month or two, Joe Pesci or Pesci? Pesci, he came out of retirement for this movie, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm a big fan of all those actors.
Oh, yeah. It's the boys from Goodfellas.
Yeah, gangsta.
What am I, ha-ha funny?
I'm really excited. I'm going to see that.
He's been out on the golf course out here before at Valencia.
Have
Country
you
Club.
played with him?
I did not play.
You played with everybody else, though.
No. But let's give away some free stuff.
Yes.
You want to do that? The first person to call 661-298-5487 or message us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio with the right answer to my question wins a dozen bagels from Western Bagel. Before the Clippers moved to Los Angeles, they called this city home. Is it Seattle, Minneapolis, San Diego, or Metropolis? All right. Before the Clippers moved to Los Angeles, they called this city home. Seattle, Minneapolis, San Diego, or Metropolis. Be the first person to call 661-298-5487, or you can Facebook a post at KHTS Radio and you win a dozen bagels from Western Bagel. Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, coming up, Kings scorer Alex Iafallo is going to join us live to chat some hockey. Plus, we're going to play Who Am I? My radio show with Rick Garcia is brought to you by Western Bagel on Fox Sports West. That's my radio show hotline. This guy scored 21 goals his senior year at Minnesota Duluth. He has a pair of goals and a pair of assists for your Los Angeles Kings. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Iafallo on my radio show. Welcome to the show, Alex. We thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You had a practice this morning. Listen, the Kings have played 13 games. You've only won 4 so far. What's it going to take to get you guys rolling?
Yeah, we just got to come together here. We got new structure, new stuff in position here. So, we just got to communicate and, work it out here. We'll be fine.
Now, I counted 9 players on the Kings who are from the U.S., and I got to tell you, times have changed since the days when I was covering the Gretzky-era Kings, when guys came from everywhere but the U.S. Now, I still don't see any Southern California guys on the roster. What's up with that?
Yeah, no SoCal guys yet. I don't know. Just, a lot of different demographics and different locations everybody's from.
L.A. Kings left winger Alex Iafallo on my radio show. You hail from Eden, New York, or I think also Buffalo. You probably had access to just about every American sport as a New Yorker as a kid. Why hockey, Alex?
My parents put it into me pretty young, and Buffalo is more of a hockey town, so there was always hockey everywhere. A lot of ponds in the woods you could skate on. A lot of rinks around, and just a lot of kids playing hockey. So. It started at a young age and kind of took off from there.
Were you good at other sports, by the way?
Yeah, I played volleyball. That was probably my second sport.
Yeah, volleyball,
Nice.
But none of the other, no football, baseball for you or anything like that?
I played baseball, till I was probably 13.
Yeah.
I played lacrosse, too.
Lacrosse.
Big out there.
That's also common in the East. People think I'm nuts when I say hockey players are among the best athletes. I mean, take you, for example. You're 6 foot. The speed and grace you guys have on the ice, you have to stop and start on a moment's notice. People banging into each other. Am I wrong? Are you guys, tell me I'm wrong, you guys are among the best athletes in the world, no?
There's a lot of great sports and great athletes out there, but, it's different. I mean, we get that all the time. Obviously, it's a different type of sport for sure, but you just got to be prepared for anything, really.
L.A. King Alex Iafallo on my radio show. Listen, I used to always say this. The times have changed a little bit, but again, in those days I was traveling with the Kings when Gretzky was playing, I always said, people ask me about the different athletes. I'd say hockey players are the best dressed. Best-looking guys in
so
the league.
handsome.
Yeah. Now,
Always.
some of the other sports they've caught up a little bit with when it comes to dressing and stuff. But I have to ask you, Alex, how many guys on your team have all their teeth? Tell me the truth.
Not many. A lot of guys have lost their teeth, and that's just battle for sure. But luckily, I still have mine. So
I don't care if they have teeth or not. They're always so handsome.
Well,
Hockey players are the best.
And here's the thing. There's a great article that's out right now. It's called the Ugly, Gory, Bloody Secret Life of NHL Dentists. It's written by David Fleming on ESPN.com. I recommend everybody read that. You probably don't want to read it, Alex, but even on your media guide, you see Drew Doughty, and he's missing his 2 front teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's losing them for sure.
Is that a badge of honor for some guys?
I think for sure. It's they take pride in that, and you can tell. Obviously, it's it's just the way they look now, and they love it.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, I have to ask you, how do you feel about Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. Yeah. He's all right. I don't know.
Well, I just asked you that because you know about the Taylor Swift curse. For those in our audience who don't know it, the Kings covered up Taylor Swift's banner inside Staples,
That's right.
honoring her number of sold-out shows because they thought it was bad luck. And you guys are 2-4 at home since the banner was covered. Do you think she cursed you guys?
Damn, I didn't know that, actually.
You didn't know that? Oh, my gosh. True story. And by the way, and athletes are ridiculously superstitious. Everyone knows, of course, about hockey playoff beards, which I think are cool. What are your other superstitions, Alex?
I'm pretty general, I guess. Nothing too crazy. Just probably eat the same meal every game day. Tape my stick.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same. I've probably been the same warm up, like stretching and stuff.
Yeah,
ever since junior hockey. So.
And when I played sports most of my life, I wasn't a professional athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but I hated getting rid of equipment. I mean, if I had a baseball glove that was doing well by me, I would not get rid of it. And that, whether it's socks or equipment. Do you have some equipment that you've had for years?
Yeah, for sure. I think elbow pads I've had for 5 years.
And those probably don't stink, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those don't smell at all.
Listen, we are hoping that the Kings can get on a roll. You guys can turn things around here, and listen. Like you said, you got a new system in place. You have a new coach, and listen, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us on my radio show. The Kings are going to host Chicago tomorrow night on Fox Sports West at 7:30. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Iafallo on my radio show with Rick Garcia.
We
Thanks,
love the
Alex.
Kings.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate that.
All right.
And here's the thing that I found with lots of professional athletes is I don't know why this is, but I always found that the guys that had the most physical sports were the nicest guys. So they're
getting out all their aggression.
Well, okay, maybe that's what I'm wondering, because I would interview boxers, Tyson, Larry Holmes. Joe
that is
Frazier,
interesting, though.
And always the sweetest guys outside the ring. Hockey players, wonderfully nice guys. Now I used to look back and think in the late '80s, early '90s, they didn't get the publicity that other athletes got. So I thought maybe they're a little more humble. And then as you get further away from the physical sports, even football players, pretty nice for the most part. I'm generalizing. You get away from the physical sports, and some of those guys could be a pain in the butt. I don't know why that is, but some of those guys were a lot more difficult to deal with.
Which ones are on top?
Well, I'll tell you what. You get to the individual sports, for example, which always shocked me, like golf or tennis. I'm thinking, why are you being so, they're so edgy all the time.
Right.
Like in tennis, it's always, shh, quiet, please, and same with golf. Shh, he's standing over a little white ball that's not moving, right?
Yeah.
You get a quarterback in the NFL, he's got, 10 guys on his side, 11 on the other that are trying to kill him, 60,000 people throwing beer and you screaming and cursing. He's got to remember like 6 different things in his mind. My receivers are going near, running backs. They don't say, shh, quiet, please. Right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Interesting.
Some of those guys are just a little more neurotic, and hockey players are among the sweetest,
Yeah.
Well, they're getting all their aggression out, and I just think, you're right, though. Every time I do see a hockey player or, being interviewed, they're just so calm and collected, and they're very soft-spoken, and I don't know, it just adds to their beauty.
They're a handsome bunch, and I used to say that, I used to say that back in the day. I spent a lot of time with the Kings on the road during the Gretzky era, and Marty McSorley, who was their enforcer, they called him. His job was to be Gretzky's bodyguard, and had a lot of fun with those guys. And I just remembered they were dressed impeccably, and I always wondered, and at that time, I don't think the guys in the NFL, NBA, and certainly not the baseball players were anywhere close to these guys in their 3-piece suits, and I always thought, well, that must be a European influence.
Is that what that is?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Whatever
then.
it is, I'll take it.
Yeah. Now today, fast forward today, and the other athletes have caught up. They're a little more fashion savvy, as they have to be, and so everybody. Look, Patrick's like he's falling asleep over there. I don't care how they dress. I don't care what kind of suits they wear.
No, but you're right.
I like
points.
suits. I like when the athletes dress
suits.
Well, I mean, not just I like suits, but I like when people dress up nice.
Just something I noticed, because you see guys out there punching each other, missing teeth, a bloody mess, and they come out and they're wearing, these silk suits.
Oh,
and
yeah.
ties.
I love it.
Well, like the NFL draft, like you see like the draft players dressing so just like it's so nice. Like, and I always go like me and my mom do this thing when we're watching the draft. Like, all right, he's best dressed right there. Like, look at like the shoes, like combination,
all
just
of it,
rocking it. Like, it's like now that is a good dress. Like, that's a good dressed up suit right there.
Yeah.
And I like the way you mentioned the teeth and how they're missing the 2 front teeth. You know what I love mostly about it is that they don't pop in fake ones before they're interviewed or whatnot. They're just showing off those,
Again, it's like a badge of honor. That's what Alex was saying.
That's what you're saying.
No, he was proud to say he still has his.
Well, yeah, that's great.
Sometimes it's the defenders who are missing the teeth because they got pucks coming at them 120 miles an hour.
Jeez, I couldn't even imagine.
That article that I mentioned to you, I think it's a great read. It's the writer is on this is terrific, and it's talking about NHL dentists and the lives they have. David Fleming wrote this article, "The Ugly, Gory, Bloody Secret Life of NHL Dentists," and the stuff that those guys see from these players. And these players, man, they are so darn tough. It's amazing. Let's do my headlines. What do you say?
My headlines, all right.
My headlines. My headlines are brought to you by Frontier Toyota. LeBron James and his family had to be evacuated from their home earlier this week due to the Getty fire in the Sepulveda Pass. LeBron thanked first responders for their hard work. He even sent them a taco truck. Evacuation orders, isn't that neat? Evacuation orders have since been lifted for that area. Much of that was the Mandeville Canyon area. LeBron and the Lakers on the road in Dallas tip off 7:30 tonight. Kyle Kuzma expected to return. The Clippers hosted San Antonio last night. Kawhi Leonard poured in 38 points. He had 12 rebounds. And the Clippers beat the Spurs 103-97. They host Utah on Sunday. The Rams don't play this week, but they are still busy. The team traded defensive back Aqib Talib and a fifth-round pick to Miami for a late-round pick. The deal was a salary dump for the Rams. They head to Pittsburgh a week from Sunday. And the Chargers fired offensive coordinator Ken Whisenhunt. They are 23rd in the league in scoring average with a little more than 19 points a game. And boy, bad news though, if you're a Chargers fan, they have their work cut out for them on Sunday when they host the Green Bay Packers at 1:25 on CBS. How about Friday Night Lights?
Friday Night Lights.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Lights on my radio show with Rick Garcia. This is KHTS co-sports director Wyatt Smith, and this week we hear from some of the key players in Hart's win over West Ranch last week, which ended the Wildcats' undefeated streak this season and opened the door for Hart to claim a share of the league title. First, we hear from wide receiver Ashton Thomas, who came up big for Hart with 11 catches for 174 yards and a touchdown, about how it feels to be able to produce in such a major way for his team.
Man, it's a blessing. This is what off-season training and this whole summer was all about, being able to come up in the clutch, being able to make plays for my teams. And, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, so I'm blessed.
Some of those catches Thomas ripped off wouldn't have been possible without the protection given to Hart quarterback Zach Johnson by his linemen. Offensive tackle Tommy Adame spoke about what makes their front five gel so well.
It's a brotherhood here, and I think we just all have each other's back, and we know as soon as we step on that field, we're a unit. And I think that's how everyone feels, and I think that's what allows us to really handle blitzes and stuff, is because we all trust each other. We all do our job, we all have faith in each other. I think that's what it comes down to, is just, faith, and knowing that the person next to you is doing their job, and I think that's what we have on the line.
The Wildcats never rolled over against Hart. They took some heaves late in the fourth, desperately looking to find the end zone and keep the game alive. But Hart's Travis Gill came up with the game-ending interception. Here's what he had to say about how it felt to take down the undefeated West Ranch and know that his team now has a shot at a share of the league title if the Wildcats can take down Valencia across town on Friday night.
It feels good, it really does, but at the same time, we still got to play Golden Valley. That's a good team. So we need to get the W this week and, have a good week of practice, and, whatever happens in that game happens. But, our season's just getting started. We still got playoffs, and we got to keep going.
Hart returns home for a matchup with Golden Valley at Cougar Stadium Friday night at 7 p.m. Valencia and West Ranch meet at Valencia High School with league title implications on the line, and Saugus visits Canyon as those teams each look to pick up their first league win and avoid a last-place finish. And that's this week's Friday Night Lights. Catch our segment each week on my radio show with Rick Garcia, and for all your Foothill League scores, recaps, and everything Santa Clarita sports, follow at KHTS Sports on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and go to hometownstation.com.
Santa Clarita Nights.
Hometown.
Things to do this weekend in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Your community station.
It's Menji, and this week in our valley, it's Family Thrill Night at Elevate Church. Sunset in the Vineyard presented by the Assistance League Santa Clarita, the City of Santa Clarita's Marathon, Heroes Edition. It's the Hart Regiment Marching Band Rampage, and Six Flags Magic Mountain Fright Fest now through November 3rd. Did you know there's even more things to do in Santa Clarita when you head to hometownstation.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter?
Your hometown station.
So the Lakers are back in action tonight, and they're going to take on Dallas on the road. And the good news is Kyle Kuzma is expected to return. They've been playing without one of their they're better scorers.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying watching the Lakers for the first time in a long time.
I agree with that.
So I grew up a Lakers fan,
Okay.
and my idol back in the day was Wilt Chamberlain. Loved Wilt Chamberlain. It was 100 years ago for the young folks that are watching and listening. Loved them through the Magic Johnson era, which was the Showtime was the greatest era, in my opinion, in basketball, especially for a Lakers fan, because it was the consummate team. It was Magic and all these amazing players around him that he made great.
Showtime.
I had a hard time with the Kobe era. The Kobe and Shaq era was a very selfish
That's when I would
era
watch a little bit.
of basketball.
And that's where I came in on that.
It was always an argument over whose team is it, Shaq's, Kobe's, and I used to always say it's Dr. Buss's team. It's Jerry
True,
Buss's team. You guys just go and play. They won some championships, but it was not fun for me as a Lakers fan to watch.
Yeah.
Here we are again. LeBron can't wait to give the ball to Anthony Davis. He can't wait to give the ball back to LeBron. When Kuzma comes back, they're going to be giving it to Kuzma. It's been a joy to watch.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Just the dynamic of that whole team is it's so big man heavy, and you're not going to be able to stop them just going inside. I mean, LeBron alley-oops to Davis on like just the daily, and then Davis can even like alley-oop it back to LeBron. I'm like, it's so dynamic. Or he'll just like throw it out, like shoot a three. Like you can't even like they're so unguardable just based on how they utilize each other and how they're so. Just the teamwork on that,
and it's fun to see Kuzma, who's homegrown. I mean, they drafted him, and to see him now. But there's also talk that one of the big guys that they drafted in the offseason, DeMarcus Cousins, could possibly return this season. This guy's hurt all the time. He tore his ACL in August.
Poor guy.
Wow.
They're not now. All of a sudden, they're not closing the door on a possible return from him.
Ooh.
He was with Golden State last year. He tried to make a late return during the playoffs. It didn't go so well.
Yeah.
You need a lot of time in the NBA just from a cardio standpoint, to try to get back in shape and hit, learn to hit your shots again and all that kind of stuff. But so I mean, I'm fired up about. I know you like the Rams. Your Lakers, when it comes to basketball, who's your favorite basketball team, April, or do you follow it as much?
You know what? I don't really follow it, but I always like to lean towards the underdog. So I'm kind of leaning towards Clippers always. Wow. It's just so interesting. And I grew up with a buddy of mine, Dean, who was always a Clippers fan. So he kind of turned me on to that.
Sure.
Although I did watch the Lakers with the Kobe era.
Right.
And it was very interesting. It was fun. There's so many games.
Well, these two teams are a joy to watch. It's going to be wonderful to see these two battle it all the way to the end. Thanks to our guests, LA King Alex Iafallo.
Go Kings.
Cultural anthropologist Susan Kresnica. And then thank you, April. Thank you, Patrick. You guys have
Rick.
a great weekend.
You too.
And Aaron De La Torre is here to take you on your ride home. We'll see you next Friday, 1 to 3. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
What do you think? What is it called? It's called a lakeside stank.
KHTS
AM 1220
and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 3 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
Candidate dropout, new fire raging. I'm Barbara Cusack. The latest to drop out in the 2020